Welcome to the PTSD podcast with your host, comedian and military veteran, Bernard the Laugh Therapist Hines, where we discuss PTSD, processing traumatic situations differently, and give you tools to help you overcome the stigma of seeking help. If you're ready to be inspired, then welcome to the Stigma-Free Zone. Here's your host, the Laugh Therapist himself, Bernard Hines.
Good day, everybody. How y'all doing? I am your host, Bernard Hines, aka the Laugh Therapist, and welcome to the podcast, PTSD, Processing Traumatic Situations Differently. Here we try to inform, enlighten, and become advocates for one another as we learn more productive ways to process our trauma. Hey, welcome to the Stigma-Free Zone. Listen, I am excited. I have an awesome guest today, y'all. I have an awesome guest, Colonel Lonnie L. Williams, Jr., U.S. Army retired. I'm going to get right in and bring him on the screen. I'm going to get right in, and then we're going to have this conversation. Come on, y'all. Put your hands together for Mr. Lonnie Johnson, Jr. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Man, glad to have you. Glad to have you. Before I go into further, I'm just tell y'all, yes, he is my cousin. He is my cousin. Now, if he wasn't doing anything positive, I probably wouldn't claim him. But since he is doing something positive, you know, you claim family that's doing what they're supposed to do. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I see right now. You got a. I'm gonna read you some clips of your bio. You got a lot of you. Your bio is good. Your bio look like you done something with your life. Listen, y'all. He's a product of Norfolk, Virginia. Okay, he graduated from Norfolk State University with a Bachelor of Science degree in education. Behold the green and the gold. Yo, he got a master's degree in counseling psychology from Duke University. All right. He's also completed postgraduate information system management with the University of Southern California. Okay. And then after you graduated from as distinguished military graduate, okay, you went to the War College too?
Yes.
Okay. What did they teach y'all in the War College? Did they teach y'all how to play war? Did they teach y'all what to do in war? What they do?
The strategic planning.
Strategic planning. Okay, sort of like being a husband.
Execution.
Got it. Sort of like being a husband. Okay, I understand all that. But this will get me. Now, you're a jump master, 82nd Airborne. That's something I never wanted to do. I applaud you for that right there. I applaud you for that right there, y'all. He has numerous awards, all his other good stuff for stationed in Germany, Korea, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Berlin. You did it all. That's what I'm talking about. Now, he is married to the former Paulette E. Plummer of Norfolk, Virginia, and they have two beautiful adult children. Wow. That is great. That is great. Was there anything else you would like us to know about you, sir?
No, other than, I just want to say, how thankful I am that you offered this opportunity. I just want to say how proud I am of you for what you're doing.
Thanks, sir.
To help remove the stigma of PTSD. And
correct.
A little bit later, I'll share some of my story, but I'm just thankful to be here.
Right. And I am thankful to have you, because what we do here is we try to let veterans see and let people see that, hey, even though you have PTSD, you still can go forward. You still can live a productive life if you use the tools that are given to you. That's all we need to know. So we're going to jump right on into this daggone interview, because I'm ready. I'm ready. Look, can you share with the audience how it was that how it became that you joined the military?
Yeah, I'll do that. But before I get into that, okay, I want to say that it's my goal doing this interview. I have two personas.
All right.
One is the polished Army officer.
Got it.
And the other one is the real me.
Okay,
And
got
so
it.
what I want to do today is I want to be the real me.
Come on
That's
now.
that's part of my struggle. That's part of what I'm dealing with. So
Okay.
I want to be the real me. You know, I got some notes. If you see me look down a couple of times, I'm just trying to make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be
That's
and
right.
covering the information that I want to cover.
We got it.
Okay?
There you go. There you. Hey, look, this stigma free. You know, we all disabled veterans. You got to hold it up and read it. We don't get. We got to do what we got to do. Ain't no shame in our game. Oh
But
my God. So
but
so so share with us how you became to join the military in your non-polished military way.
okay. Well, when I graduated from Granby High School,
Okay.
if I was going to college, Norfolk State was the only option I had.
Okay.
That was the only option I had. And at the time, Norfolk State was a land grant college. And as part
Mm.
of that land grant uh, stipulation, all male students had to participate in the first 2 years of ROTC.
Wow.
So I participated in the first 2 years of ROTC. I kind of enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.
And then they offered what they call advanced ROTC, which if you completed that, that would lead to a commission in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that enticed me more than anything else was advanced ROTC. They paid you $50 a month. $50 a month paid my rent. so,
My
so,
goodness.
so, so I really got involved in the last 2 years of ROTC because they were paying me $50 a month. $50 a month paid my rent.
Hey,
But
every time.
so I completed, the advanced ROTC, and I did pretty good in ROTC. And I ended up, based on my performance at summer camp, I ended up being the brigade commander, which was the highest officer in the ROTC program there in
Okay.
Norfolk State. So when I was commissioned, after I graduated, I was commissioned a second lieutenant in the field artillery.
Mm.
And that was a combat arms. Vietnam was going on. When I came in, Vietnam was still going on. I wasn't sent to Vietnam
Okay.
because I came in 1972 and they were starting to wind things down. But
Got it.
had I not been in ROTC, they had the lottery system.
Ooh. Okay.
And I got a really low number,
So that
less
means you.
than 10. So
Wow.
if I had not been in the ROTC program, I would have been drafted.
Wow. And
So
you said 1972.
1972 is when I graduated. Yes.
Okay, because on this show, sometimes I like to give out the pick phone number. So it's 1972 today. 1972. Wow.
But that's how that's how it ended up that I entered the military,
Okay.
And then over the next 30 years, I had some revelations, and I think I learned some life lessons that maybe I'd like to share.
Yeah, go ahead, share some of them life lessons. I'm sure
Okay.
people want to hear it.
Well, the first thing that I had to realize and understand is that life is not fair.
Mm.
The world we live in is the world not that we hope and wish it to be, but it's the world that we have,
Correct.
and that is not fair.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I often share with folks is that if you accept that and understand that, then you don't become captive of the fact that life is not fair.
Okay.
Life is
Not fair. Okay.
And what that means that if you're going to be successful, then you may have to do more than the other guy to be successful.
Correct.
And so you need to be willing to do that. And which means, you may have to work a little harder and a little longer to get successful. But I see some folks fall into the trap. They run around and say, well, this ain't fair. That other person did this. I don't understand why I can't do this. And what I say to them is this, don't put your life and your future in somebody else's hands.
Correct.
When you try to do what they do and you don't get the same result, then the hardship falls on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just like in the military, you could have some folks that get in trouble and don't do what they're supposed to do. And then what happens is the military gets rid of them.
Correct.
The military gets rid of them. And what I found is you don't change anything from the bottom.
Okay.
You don't change anything from the bottom. And what I counsel people on is observe the things that are going on around you. Observe the things that you consider not to be right. But once you get some rank and you're in a position of leadership, then you can do some things to change that.
True.
You're still part of the system. If the system has gotten rid of you, you're not part of the system and you can't affect change anymore.
Correct. Wow.
So, it's important to, not wear the label of, well, life is not fair. And because life is not fair, I can't do any better than I'm doing now. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. Don't be a victim. Don't be a victim. Don't be a victim.
And that's so easy. That's so easy sometimes, to fall back in that victim role. I remember when I first got passed over for sergeant first class, I blamed everybody but me. You know what I'm saying? I blame everybody but me until I had to look in the mirror and say, no, you the one that ain't got no college education. I mean, no credits. You ain't did nothing. You ain't. Yeah, that is true. But I like your quote. You don't change anything from the bottom. I like that. I like that. I like nuggets like that.
No, you don't. And what that says is understand the system because, we live in a system, but take advantage of the system to get you some rank. And once you get some rank, then you can make some changes. Now, my experiences in the military, early on, I didn't have any mentors.
Okay.
I didn't have anybody that pulled me aside, or I didn't see any other black officers that I could point out as a role model and or any other black officers that would pull me aside and say, okay, here's what you need to do. I was just very observant.
Okay.
Very observant. And I figured out that, nobody was going to outwork me.
Wow.
Nobody was going to outwork me. And I learned that people value people who are assets and not liabilities.
Correct.
Everybody wants a good person on their team.
True.
Because you help them be successful, you help the organization be successful, and then you have a chance of being successful.
Right. Everybody pulling their own weight.
That's exactly right.
Everybody pulling their own weight.
But what I also learned is as I progressed through the ranks, then I was always looking for somebody that I could mentor.
Okay.
And I can remember when I was a executive officer in the 82nd Airborne in the 1st of the 319th Field Artillery. We had two sharp black captains. Sharp gentlemen. So I worked with them. I shared my experiences with them. Those two guys ended up being major generals.
Wow.
Major generals. Because, I wanted to make sure that I shared my experiences and pitfalls with them so they didn't have to make the same mistakes.
And see, that's powerful because you stopped at colonel and they went to major general. So
they went to major,
and there was no animosity. It's like this is what I wanted to see.
That's exactly what I wanted to see.
Right.
And you know what? And to this day, when those guys communicate with me, you know what they say?
What's that?
Sir.
They
say, sir. These are major generals.
Correct.
Talk to a colonel and say, sir.
Correct.
But they're appreciative.
Right, of course.
They're appreciative. And in that communication, we're talking man to man, really.
Right.
We're talking man to man, really. And when they refer to me that way, they're just saying thanks.
Thank you. Correct. Wow.
That's what it is.
Hey, that is powerful. Listen, y'all, right now we're talking to Colonel Lonnie L. Johnson Jr., U.S. Army retired. He's gonna be dropping some nuggets with us. I see him with his DAV disabled was it DAV shirt on, and we're gonna be talking about that and also. But listen, y'all, we got some nuggets gonna be dropping right now. But listen, can you share why it is important to help with your PTSD? Now, you know this podcast is PTSD, processing traumatic situation differently, and we all have processed it differently. But why is it important to go and seek help for that?
Okay. Well, first of all, again, I want to say thank you. I don't know if you remember, but I guess it's been about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we were at the Golden Corral Military Highway.
Yep, I remember. Yes, sir.
At this family pop-up kind of get-together.
Correct.
And you and I had a discussion, and you shared with me some of your struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And that conversation was encouraging and motivating to me to say, you got some issues.
Wow.
You need to get some help. And that was part of my motivation to reach out and get some help based on that conversation that we had at the Golden Corral on Military Highway probably 5 or 6 years ago.
I remember it. I remember it vividly because, I mean, I have always been that person. I'm going to give my, what I'm going through. That is it. And if I can help someone else, that's what it's all about.
And so, even as a trained counselor who has helped people, I had to acknowledge to myself that I had some issues that I wasn't dealing with.
But hold up, sir. Hold up. Now, this the part that I like. Now, you a colonel in the United States Army. You done took folks to war. You done been in charge of this. You done been in charge on that. And you come to recognize that you need help. See, that's what I want people. It doesn't matter how high you are or how low you are. When you realize what you need, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's powerful.
No, that's true. I mean, and that's true. I mean, because the other thing that I've learned too is that PTSD doesn't manifest itself the same with every person.
There you go.
So you can't look at another person and the way PTSD manifests itself and say, well, I ain't got PTSD. I don't act like him. PTSD manifests itself in many ways.
Many ways. That's right.
And the issue that I was having was, you remember I mentioned early on, I had 2 personas. Well, I had this persona as an officer in the military.
Okay.
And in my surroundings, I was always 1 or 2. Never the majority. 1 or 2.
Okay.
Okay, so I never felt comfortable in that situation. I always felt like I couldn't let my guard down. I felt stressful. I felt like, I had to be careful about what I say and how I say it. That was just a persona that I even talked different.
Okay.
I even talked different. And then the other persona I had was what I call the real me.
Okay.
And so when I went home or I was around my people, my family, then I felt more comfortable. I didn't feel like I had to have my guard up.
Okay.
I didn't feel like I had to have an answer to every question.
Got it. Ooh, wow.
Because, as an officer in my military unit, I'm always thinking, I'm anticipating what's going to happen. When is that next shoe going to fall? Have I thought about this? Have I planned for this? I'm always the guy that the people, soldiers come to. I'm supposed to have an answer.
For
I'm
everything.
supposed to have some wisdom and some guidance about what we gonna do.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be following me.
Correct. Correct.
So I'm always in that mode, and the real me was an opportunity to relax.
Okay.
Okay, but here's where the problem came in.
All right.
The officer persona was starting to seep into the real me. So that when my family and my friends came to me with issues, I'm starting to feel resentful.
Wow.
Starting to feel resentful in the sense of, I thought this was my safe space.
Got it.
And I don't have to have an answer for everybody. And so what I was finding out is that I was hurting the people that were closest to me.
That's what we do.
People that I love, the people that had helped me the most, I'm hurting them by the way I was responding to them.
Okay. Yeah.
Because my wife could always see by the facial expression when I was irritated, when she asked me something that I wasn't expecting her to ask me, or somebody made a request, or somebody said, "Well, this broke." They just said this broke. The implication supposed to be that, well, since it broke, you need to fix it, or you need to come up with some response about how we gonna deal with this.
Correct.
And so that's it was starting to impact my personal relationships with my family, my children, my friends, because I was starting to let the frustration and the animosity that I felt about the role I had to play as an officer seep into my family relationship.
Correct. Wow.
So I sought help that helped explain that.
Right.
Help explain what was happening. And so as a result of seeking help, I understand now what my triggers are. I also understand I still have frustrations, but what I learned is that when I feel frustrated, I don't give you an answer immediately. I take some time. I let it seep in. I let it marinate a little bit.
Yes.
So that when I do respond, it comes out better.
Correct.
I don't give them an abrupt answer that hurts them, and then later on I say I shouldn't have said that.
Correct. Right. Well, I tell you, one of the things I would do is I would say yes to everything and then be frustrated when it's over. You know what I'm saying? I can't believe I said yes to that. But you always in that military mode is like, I can fix it. I can take on, I can do it. And my wife was like, why are you so overwhelmed? You overwhelm yourself. Ain't nobody do this to you. You did it to yourself. But it's like you say, I'm used to fixing it. I'm used to being, just because people say, well, you was in the military. Yeah, I'm not in the military now. I want to be like, yo.
That's right. Yeah. So, and so by seeking help, I'm learning I don't have to have an immediate response. In fact, it's better that I don't give an immediate response, because I get to the right place. It just takes me a little time to get there.
That's right.
Before, I was giving an answer out of emotion, but I'm going to end up doing what I need to do anyway, but I done hurt their feelings.
Correct.
Because of that first rapid response that I gave. So
correct.
So I'm, that has improved my situation immensely, because, I just learned how to deal with that. And also, I learned also that I don't have to feel guilty if I said, no, I don't know the answer to that. You're going to have to deal with that yourself and figure it out yourself.
There's nothing wrong with that. And that's a hard piece for us to learn right there.
Yeah, it is. But it's all good. I mean, but I feel much better. I mean, I understand why I feel the way I feel, but I'm able now to respond in a more positive way.
Correct.
And so that's good.
So do your family know your triggers? Have you explained to them and they know your triggers and stuff like that? Because that's what I had to do. My family know my triggers.
don't blindside me with anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, give me as much notice as possible. I mean,
Correct. Correct.
and
Correct.
because they know, like I said, I have to marinate on it, to get to the right place.
Right.
And but yeah, I mean, we're still working on that. We
Yeah.
ain't
And
there yet, but
right.
we're working progress. But at least my wife appreciates the fact that I sought some help to try to identify what the issue is, and we're working on it.
Correct. And see, I want to talk to that person that's out there that's listening, that you haven't given your spouse the freedom or the feel like she can say, hey, babe, tell me what bothers you. Because they're not mind readers. And if you don't let them know what's bothering you, you be going around thinking no one cares, nobody want to know. All they want to do is know why
Right.
you act a certain way. Listen, we got PTSD. We went to the war. We did some things that the normal person didn't do or see. Right. And I'm gonna bring this up, and I know me and you had talked about, is one of your things was and I knew a lot of other officers who were over me felt bad when they sent folks out to combat and things happened to them.
Yes.
We had one first sergeant, he just couldn't make it no more because he sent the guy, he made the guy go home to see, on leave, and the helicopter got shot down, and he felt like he was messed up.
Yeah.
So I know that's another thing that y'all carry, that we all carry as service members, because as I learned a valuable lesson, and me and my wife talked about it. My wife used to get upset with me because I would answer the phone soon it rung. Soon it rung, I had to pick it up. I realized by talking to my therapist and stuff, I was a signal soldier.
Mm-hmm.
I had a radio and I had a phone and all this stuff. So if you don't answer when it's called, you think somebody dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I had to reprogram myself and let her. And when she said, now I understand. Because she was like, just let it go to voicemail. No, they might think. So we have to really let our family know exactly what we're dealing with, how we're dealing with it, and get them involved in our counseling and seeking help.
Yeah. And, my wife also understands that, in early January of every year,
Mm-hmm.
when the Gulf War kicked off,
Okay.
and part of we were part of that big swing out to the right that the 18th Airborne Corps made.
Okay.
But anyway, but we had to travel about 48 hours straight on pipeline, a 2-lane highway.
Okay.
And we had checkpoints to get in time to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And on that move, I had a soldier that dozed off at the wheel and veered over into the front of a Hemet that had a tank on it.
Wow.
And so, that really bothered me.
Correct.
It still bothers me
mm-hmm.
when that time of the year come around, when that happens. I mean,
right.
And so she understands that when that time of the year comes around, she may see me sitting in a corner, a little quiet.
Mm-hmm.
She just give me a little space.
That's the key right there. Just give us a little space, give us a little time. Hey, and being a military veteran, I think, and having PTSD and some of the emotion we go to, every emotion we have is not tied to PTSD. I still can get mad, and it's not because of PTSD. You know what I'm saying? I still can get irritated sometimes, and it's not. But I allow my family to joke and be open. If I do something, have you taken your meds today? You know what I'm saying? So I didn't never wanted them to walk around on eggshells, or I had to get to that point. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Listen, y'all, we sitting here talking today with Colonel Lonnie L. Johnson Jr., U.S. Army retired colonel. Listen, y'all did 30 years in the military, correct?
That's correct.
Did 30 years in the military. Y'all went and took soldiers to combat, went and got his education, and you know what, y'all? He still went and sought help for his PTSD. This is stigma-free zone, y'all. We talk about it all. We talk about it all. Listen now, I see you have on that beautiful shirt. The DAV, the disabled American veterans. Listen, I understand that you're involved in that. Can you tell us a little bit about the DAV and what does it do?
Yes, I'll be happy to. The Disabled American Veteran is a federally recognized veteran service organization.
Okay.
It's also a 501(c) nonprofit. Now, why is that important? That's important because federal veteran service organizations provide service to veterans at no cost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In other words, it's part of their charter that they have to provide services at no charge. And I point that out because there's a lot of people out there that are offering to help veterans submit disability claims for a fee.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want all our listeners to know and understand that there's help out there for veterans in submitting disability claims, and they don't have to pay anything. They can go to the American Legion, the VFW, the DAV. All of those are federally recognized veteran service organizations that will provide that service for free. Okay.
All right.
So that's the first thing to do. But
all right.
But we're focused on helping disabled veterans and their families live a high quality life.
Okay.
And we do that in a number of ways. And we just finished a virtual 5K in which we raised money for disabled veterans. And the things that we do with that money is we provide emergency assistance to veterans. In fact, I just helped a veteran last Thursday that because of COVID, he'd gotten behind on his electric bill. And so Dominion was threatening to turn off his power. So we were able to step in and provide him a little breathing room, pay his bill so he could, get back on his feet. We also provide transportation to take veterans to their medical appointments. I mean, those that don't have transportation, we provide that transportation. We also fight for veterans on Capitol Hill.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk a little bit later about the PAC Act and some major piece of legislation.
Okay, now hold up. Now y'all don't be fighting on Capitol Hill like they was doing.
Okay. I got that.
Okay. Let's clear that up right now.
Let me say it this way.
Okay.
We advocate for veterans on
okay,
Capitol
got
Hill.
it. Got it.
That's probably a better word than fighting. But I mean, I guess behind closed doors, they probably think sometimes that's what they do.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. They be working for us now.
But we advocate for veterans on Capitol Hill.
Okay.
But now I am a chapter service officer, and what that means is that I'm one of the persons that volunteers time to assist veterans in filing their disability claims.
Okay.
And I have to be honest with you. I've been doing this now for about 9 months. This is probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
I've ever done in my life. I mean, because I feel like I get as much back from helping them as they feel that I helped them, because I can see the fruits of my labor.
Right.
having gone through the process, I know the frustrations
Mm-hmm.
that they're going through,
Correct.
and in dealing with the VA. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm just, it's so rewarding, and
I believe it.
and I consider time my most valuable resource.
Correct.
I can get more money, but I can't
Mm-hmm.
get more time.
You right about that one.
Can't get more time. I mean, once it's used, it's gone.
Right.
So, but I think what we do in trying to help veterans is just that important. That I'm willing to invest what I consider something that's very, very dear to me, and that's my time.
Wow. Wow. Well, what are some of the things you can share with veterans to help them be more successful in filing a disability claim?
Okay. The first thing is that veterans should understand that a claim, nobody's going to care more about their claim than them.
Correct.
This is not something that you submit and forget.
Okay.
You've got to be actively involved in this process.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the best things you can do is to be prepared. Now, when I say be prepared, I'll explain this a little bit more. But to have a successful VA claim, three things have to happen. First, there has to be an incident or something that happened while you were on active duty.
Okay.
There has to be a condition that exists right now.
Okay.
Okay? There has to be something that exists right now. And then there has to be a nexus that connects what's happening right now to your military service.
Okay.
Okay? Now, the VA normally uses a C&P exam
Mm-hmm.
to make an assessment if what's happening right now is service connected.
Okay.
Okay. I have a lot of I wouldn't say a lot. I have some veterans that come in and they say this. I hurt my knee when I was on active duty,
Mm-hmm.
and that was about 10 years ago. I want to file a claim.
Okay.
And so I asked them, I said, well, have you been to the doctor? No.
Nope.
I ain't been to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so, I said, look, you got to have something that says you got a problem with your knee right now.
Correct.
I mean, because you hurt your knee in the service, but it could have got better.
Correct. Right.
So basically what I'm saying is, if you're thinking about filing a claim, go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Have some documentation that says it is a problem now. It may have been a problem when you were on active duty, but we got to have something that says it's a problem right now.
Correct.
So I really encourage, veterans to go to the doctor and get a diagnosis that says something is going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we're in a better position to connect it to what happened in the service.
Right.
The other thing that I say in preparation for filing a claim, some people don't have their medical records.
You're right. Correct.
Okay. And so we can file a claim and the VA will go to the military archive and get the records.
Okay.
We can do that. Okay. But we're depending on the VA to go get those medical records. And the VA will do that, but they may not do that as expeditiously as we would like.
Correct.
So I'm saying, if you're thinking about filing a claim, come in to see us if you don't have your medical records. We can do a request to get your medical records. So at least when you come in and file the claim, you got them.
Correct.
And we submit them. And, we don't have to worry about the VA going to get those records.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying?
Correct.
And then the other thing that we can do is while we are waiting for your records to be sent to you, we can file a intent to file.
That's it.
And
That's
what
the
that
date.
does is it locks in that date.
Mm-hmm.
It locks in that date today so that we aren't losing time while we're waiting on you to get your records. And then when we submit the claim, if we submit the medical documentation along with the claim, they have what they call a fully developed claims process. That process takes around 90 days.
Mm.
Now, if we submit it and the VA has to go get the records, we're talking 6 months or more
Right.
before you get an answer. So what I say, again, let's be proactive. Let's not put all of our eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of medical records.
Wow.
The other thing that I think is very important, the Code of Federal Regulations 38, CFR 38,
Okay.
which is the VA rating Bible. Okay? That's the VA rating Bible. If you have some issue, you can just go to Google and just type in CFR 38 and whatever that issue is. And Google will bring up that part of that regulation that shows you what the rating criteria is for each rating.
Okay.
Let's say there's a 10% rating, there's a 30% rating, there's a 50% rating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's going to tell you what the criteria is for each of those ratings. Now, that's important because what I like to do with veterans when they file a claim, I like for them to write a statement or
Right.
to submit a statement. So what are we going to use to submit that statement? We're going to talk in terms of what those rating criteria are so we can lay that out.
Right.
Also, when they go on their CMP exam, what do you think that medical doctor has to make an assessment against? He has to make an assessment against that criteria.
That's
now,
right.
If 10% means you can only move your arm 30 degrees, and you think your situation warrants a higher rating, then you need to know that pain needs to start somewhere before you get to
Correct.
To that one.
Correct.
So I'm just saying, be smart about what the requirements are. Don't go into this thing not knowing what the rating criteria are.
I mean, it's like basically advocating for yourself, but you have but you have someone advocating with you.
Right. Yeah, because again, you don't have to be a someone on the sideline watching what's happening.
Correct.
You can be an active participant if you educate yourself on what the requirements are and what it is that the VA uses as their criteria to make a decision whether or not you get rated at 10%, 30%, 50%. So
that rating score ain't like 10 and 10 is 20 and
like no. That's the other thing, and again, a lot of people don't understand how VA does their math.
But it's right there in Google, though. I mean,
it's right there in Google.
It's right there in Google.
You're gonna figure it out. If you're at 50% right now, VA says, okay, you 50% broke and you're 50% good.
Mm-hmm.
The next 10% that you get, no, it ain't added to the 50% broke. It's 10% of that 50% good, which is just 5 points. That was, gonna be added to that 50%, and then if it's over the midway point, then they round up to the next 10, or if it's not, then you at the lower 10.
Right, and that's why folks that's why folks give up.
Yeah,
they give up. They get tired. They ain't anger. I fought sleep apnea for 10 years. I fought it for 10 years. They said I didn't, and finally it was like, okay, we see, because as you said, my documentation, it was there. But you still had to keep, and I was getting frustrated. My wife was like, baby, don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. But it's easy to get frustrated, but you have to have people around you that's gonna say, hey man, this is what you earned this.
That's exactly right. And I'm so glad you said that, because again, it's not something, you're not fighting for somebody to give you something. You fighting for what you earn.
That's right.
And, the other thing I tell people up front too, realize that when you're filing a disability claim and you're dealing with the VA, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes, it is. That's right.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. But the only way you lose is to quit.
There you go. That's good.
The only way you lose is to quit, because there's always something else you can do.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something else you can do.
Listen, y'all, we sitting here talking to Colonel Lonnie L. Johnson Jr., U.S. Army retired. Whoa, U.S. Army retired. Listen, I'm scared a little bit right now because I'm sitting here drinking water. I know Camp Lejeune, I never been there, but I'm sure getting a lot of emails. I'm getting a lot of text messages. I'm getting a lot of phone calls. Seriously, people are saying my name is on the list. I'm like, I ain't never been nowhere near Camp Lejeune. So that was back I was still in high school. So if you can explain a little bit about the PAC Act and the Camp Lejeune water contamination.
Absolutely. Well, the PAC Act is perhaps the most significant healthcare benefit expansion in VA history. Let me just share with you the full name of it. How we get the PAC Act is the law's full name is the Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson Honoring Our Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxins Act. So that's the full name of the act. Now, the bill was passed by Congress on August the 2nd of this year, and President Biden signed it into law August the 10th. Now, in basic terms, what the PAC Act does is it expands and increases the number of presumptives.
Okay.
And you may say, well, what is a presumptive? Okay. If you remember when we started this discussion, we said there had to be three things to have a successful disability claim. First, there had to be something that happened while you were in military service. You had to have a diagnosis, confirmed diagnosis that exists now, and then there had to be something that connects
it. Correct.
Okay. The presumptive makes the connection.
Okay.
In other words, if you serve somewhere and you now have one of those listed diseases, you no longer have to prove that they're connected.
Got it.
The law says they are connected, and the VA has to assign you a disability rating for them.
Wow. Okay.
So again, that's historic. We are, we're helping veterans file claims now. They're going to start adjudicating those claims in January of 2023.
Okay.
But here's something that I want our listeners to pay particular attention to. You can Google the expanded list of things that are covered, but you need a diagnosis. You have to be diagnosed for that. So
right.
You just can't come in and say, well, I was in Iraq, during this period of time, so I want to file a disability claim under the PAC Act. No, you got to have a diagnosis for one of those things to
connect.
To do that.
Okay.
And the Camp Lejeune water situation is the same way. In a sense, there's a list of cancers and illnesses associated with that contaminated water that you no longer, if you have a diagnosis for those things and you were in Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, then if you have a diagnosis now, then they presume that that diagnosis is as a result of your exposure to that contaminated water.
Okay.
Now, here's another important thing that I want to get across. You see a lot of lawyer advertisements on TV. Okay.
Right.
Now, there is a class action lawsuit for the Camp Lejeune contaminated water. Now, veterans can participate in that class action lawsuit. Family members can participate in that class action lawsuit. Contractors or civilians who were on the base can participate in that class action lawsuit.
Okay.
The caution is this: veterans, if you participate in that class action lawsuit, you're putting in jeopardy your ability to file a VA disability claim. Because the government is only going to pay you once. They're not going to pay you twice.
That is true.
The other thing you need to consider, who knows when that class action lawsuit is going to be settled. But you can come in right now and file a claim and, and start that process to have that, have that claim adjudicated in the next 90 to 180 days. So what I'm saying is, veterans, your best option is probably not to deal with that class action lawsuit, because if you do, then you're going to forfeit your ability to file a VA claim. Now, if you have a family member who had, miscarriage or some other issue resulted to, for them to participate is an appropriate thing to do, as well as contractors or civilians. That's the appropriate route for them. But the veterans, you don't need to pay no lawyer money or get part of your settlement and then put in jeopardy your ability to file a disability claim, when you can file a disability claim and not have to share any of those proceeds with anybody else.
Anybody. Hey, listen, y'all, we have been talking today with Colonel Retired Lonnie L. Johnson Jr., U.S. Army, my cousin. Hey, you have given us a wealth of knowledge. We will be dropping these nuggets, and people, you might have to hear this, go back and listen to this more than once so you can get all the nuggets. But listen, what I want you to do right now is, we talked about a lot. We talked about the PTSD. We talked about the DAV. We talked about putting in claims. We talked about the Camp Lejeune water. But I want you to speak to that one veteran who is thinking about giving up. And what would you say to that one veteran thinking about giving up on life, VA, all that stuff? Just, I'm tired. Could you just give him a word of, I know I just put you on the spot. You said we already got to fix stuff, but I just want you just give us that.
What I would say is, tomorrow is a new day, full of possibilities, and don't cut yourself short. If you have to struggle to get to that next day, struggle to get to that next day. But tomorrow is a new day with new possibilities, and so don't cut yourself short. You may find and get that help that you've been missing up to this point. It may be right in that next day. So Don't give up. Don't give up.
That is good. Listen, y'all, thank you, sir, for joining me tonight and today. And we are grateful for all of our veterans who are tuning in and all of our veterans who are listening. Listen, we are not here to give you no information for you to or diagnose anybody. We're just here to talk about what we've been through, our lived experiences, to maybe help you and help anybody go forward in their life. Sir, thank you for joining me tonight on the PTSD podcast, Processing Traumatic Situation Differently. We all do it. Thank you for your service. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cuz.
Thanks for listening to the PTSD podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit follow or subscribe on all podcast platforms so you can stay up to date on new episodes. Until next time, stay stigma-free.